So tell me where he's hiding. Where is Optimus Prime? Well, Duke, you want better. Why is Optimus Prime? Good question.
What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the old Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Age of Extinction Lockdown. And I know, I'm a little too late to review this guy, as this figure came out 6 years ago. But hey, better late than never. And since it is about 10 years since Age of Extinction, and Lockdown comes from Age of Extinction, why not do a video of this guy? In honor of 10 years of Age of Extinction anyways. How many times did I say Age of Extinction? So anyways, if you remember from the movie, Lockdown was a straight up menace, as he really proved his atrocious scheme whilst ripping Ratchet's spark straight out of his chest, and absolutely dominating Optimus Prime. So much as driving Prime's own sword up to his chest, barely missing his spark. Yeah, this guy was a little bit too dangerous to be kept alive. That's why his death was straight up ugly. So anyways, later on into 2018, when Hasbro started off their new Transformers Studio Series toy line, or at least it was new at the time, they decided to do a mold for Lockdown. The only problem with this guy was, well, he was a deluxe class. Should have been a Voyager class. As in the movie, due to his size, he appeared to be Voyager class compatible to the toys. Hasbro decided not to integrate that, however. Does that make this figure bad, however? No, not really. The painting and sculpting, pretty good. The painting appears to be quite accurate. All this figure is missing is a little bit of gray dots here and there to reference the movie, and the paint would be impeccable. On the front of the figure, the sculpting is alright, as well as the head sculpt being super movie accurate. That looks amazing. To be honest, this figure would have been pretty perfect had it not been for all this kibble. I don't blame the designers at Hasbro. It was pretty hard to replicate the complex design from Age of Extinction anyways, as Lockdown appeared to have barely any car bits around his body. Perhaps somewhere around the chest there were a few bits and pieces from the Lamborghini, as well as the Lamborghini logo at the center of the chest. However, I'm not seeing any logos. Must have a problem with the trademark or something. Also, I'm noticing the scratch right here. Some theorists have speculated that either Sideswipe or Dino caused that, as Dino did have the arm blades on the bottom of his arms, as well as Sideswipe having the wrist blades. So perhaps that would have had something to do with the scratch marks on the chests? So quality on my figure is a little loose in some areas, as well as not enough glue in a few pieces, which is weird because I believe around a year ago is when I picked up this figure on eBay, and I found him unopened for $44, which is a sweet deal. However, the somewhat loose joints aren't that bit of a problem. Also, did I mention that this figure has clear plastic in weird places? Yeah, I think the Shadow Raider repaint's a little worse on that though. Speaking of which, there was in fact a repaint of this Lockdown figure, to which was repainted orange. That's pretty inaccurate for the Shadow Raiders, as the Shadow Raiders carry the same silhouette as Lockdown. I suppose Hasbro did this to market what an actual Lamborghini would look like in product shots, as I think orange is the primary color they use. I could be wrong on that. Anyways, the head sculpt is much different towards Lockdown, as this time there's a little bit of green right around there. That looks really nice. Is it possible to swap the two heads? It is, depending on how easily the head pops off. Also, the quality for my Shadow Raider is a little bit more tight than the quality on this guy. Another thing to point out with the Shadow Raider is that this guy is a little bit more hard to find than Lockdown, as he does cost a considerable amount of money. And he was also rare at the time he came out. If you're looking to pick this guy up, it could run you about $70 without the box, and over $100 with the box. So yeah, good luck looking for this guy. Anyways, moving on to accessories. Lockdown does come with this nice little sword, which you could have him either holding the knife upright or have it on the side to make it look cooler. The other accessory that Lockdown has is this nice hook that he used to swing Optimus Prime at one point in the movie. Anyways, the hook does have a little bit of articulation, and much like the knife, you're given the option to either have it holding on his hand, which looks weird, or have it on the side of the arm. Not gonna lie, I recommend both accessories to be placed on the side of the arms. It just looks better that way. I just kind of wish this guy came with his head cannon, which is something that was integrated onto the original Age of Extinction mainline Deluxe class lockdown. And for the Shadow Raider, he comes with one accessory only, but it is a cool accessory as it is a gun, which looks like it was taken inspiration from the head cannon, as the barrel on the front shares a bit of resemblance. Much like Lockdown, you could have the gun on the side of the arm, but this time around it looks weird. That's because there's a tab right there that will go on top of this guy's hand, and then there's a tab on the bottom that will peg into that slot right there, and there you have the Shadow Raider's accessory blended onto the arm. Not gonna lie, I kinda wish we had more paint variations of this guy, let alone an actual full-blown vehicle that he can ride on, just like in the movie. However, that's a bit of a stretch. And if you're wondering, there's of course no weapons accessory storage. That's because it's on the side of the arms. Oh, coming to think of it, another accessory that I forgot to mention that should have been with this guy is the accessory that Crosshairs used to rip out Ratchet's spark. Despite it being only used for that specific purpose, it still would have been cool to see that in the Studio series. Anyways, moving on into articulation. Starting off ball joint at the head, which allows the head to look up and down, and swivel. You can't necessarily see it, but there is an extra hinge joint for the head, which allows the head to move a little bit more forward and a little bit more backwards, thus allowing for a little bit of a chicken hinge. Full rotation at the arm. Okay, maybe not. Due to this extra hinge joint holding the arm, which is basically used for transformation, it could allow for an unintentional upward shift movement for the arm. Bend at the shoulder, bicep swivel. Bend at the elbow, elbow swivel. No wrist swivel, but there is a waist swivel. Legs can spread. Leg can move forward, can move backwards, thigh rotation, bend at the knee, and lastly the foot can move up and down. Starting off with the Shadow Raider, Ratchet, Helicopter Drift, Crosshairs, Hot Rod, Galvatron, Evasion Mode Optimus, Night Optimus, and lastly Grimlock. Anyways, here's the entire gang of bounty hunters. We're kind of missing a lot here, as I think it would be pretty cool if Hasbro were to make Studio Series Steel Jaws, which could serve best as an army builder, but I'm afraid we won't be seeing that in a long periodically time. Anyways, I hope for this guy to get a remold, because I think it would be pretty cool to see him slightly upscaled and included with a little bit more accessories. And I guess while Hasbro's at it, they could do a remold of Shadow Raider. However, I don't see that happening. It's an option. Anyways, I think it's time we finally got down to transformation, which is pretty straightforward. Starting off, what you will do is close in the chest, fold in this panel, rotate the arm again, tab that in. Same process applies with the other arm. And now moving on to legs, fold in the feet, and then fold in this little panel, make sure it tabs in, rotate the leg, repeat the same steps with the other leg, and then finally you can plug the two together. Now here comes somewhat the tricky part, as what you will do is untab this entire section, move this out, fold in the head so that way it is placed onto that little groove right there, and then collapse this entire section right here, move this out, unfold the side panels like so, and then make sure both tab in right there. After that, close in the panel, and then make the attempt of tabbing that in, whilst at the same time lining up the hand right behind the side panel right here. Same goes for the other side, and there you have Studio Series Lockdown in his car mode. Now, in the previous incarnations of Lockdown, he was always a different type of car, one that was somewhat green and had a little bit of iron bars placed around either the front or side of the vehicle. But in this incarnation of Lockdown, he transforms into a Lamborghini. And I gotta say, Hasbro did a really nice job replicating the Lamborghini, as this looks just like the Aventador. Talk about accuracy. As you can see, the Lamborghini logo has been scratched off from that little dot right there. That's because it was due to a copyright problem. The top looks nice, as well as the back. The wheels are pretty good too. But of course the paint scheme is what makes this car shine. Also, the engine rev of this car is absolutely spectacular, as it does sound pretty mean. Anyways, for weapon storage, the weapons go roughly around the same place as before, as if this were to be in robot mode, they would be positioned the other side. Anyways, for a brief comparison, let's put them alongside the Shadow Raider. Not gonna lie, the two do look a little bit better in car mode, especially since it works better for the paint. One thing to point out with the transformation, however, is that there are a few parts that are made out of clear plastic, so when moving some joints around, do be careful, as clear plastic is known to fracture or even break real easily. And for another comparison, here he is alongside Hot Rod, and I believe the scale is a little off, as I believe both cars should be roughly around the same size and width. I'm not sure. I suppose inflation happened, I guess. But anyways, if you're wondering if these cars are the same thing, no they're not, as this is the Aventador and this is the Centenario. I think that's how you call it. Anyways, let's just throw in all three of them at the same time. Not gonna lie, I like how Hot Rod's car mode has both the dark and the orange paint slapped together, with the darker shade of paint predominating. There's barely any orange, as it's just a few stripes slapped onto the sides or the front. Leave a comment down below which one's your favorite. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I had to say for this guy. Overall, solid figure. If you have the chance of getting him, I recommend you do it. His accessories aren't too bad, the car mode is great. And if you can, I wouldn't pass up on getting the Shadow Raider if I were you, especially if you're looking to army build. If you're looking to pick this figure up, good luck, sorry. As he does go for quite a lot in the aftermarket. Like I mentioned before, I got him for $44 with the box, unopened, but that was like a 1 in 10,000 chance of happening. What I recommend to do is once or twice a day, check eBay to see if there's a new deal for either figure, because that's what I did. But that is just a recommendation. And if you do happen to find this figure for a good price, well, let's just say I wouldn't pass up on it if I were you. Anyways, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See ya!